very good evening to you. You are watching Prime Time News on Newsfirst. We're joining you from Echelon Square. With Christmas just 15 days away, we at Newsfirst are ready to bring you the Christmas experience, and you can come here, be a part of this live experience here at Echelon Square. I'm Saturang Haparachi.
And I'm Dasani Athava.
With Christmas just around the corner, we have a few people joining us live to watch our bulletins as well.
We have people from all walks of life who want to be part and join us in with these festivities. As you can see, there are crowds gathered here. So, Chaturangu?
We have our headlines lined up for you next. Let's have a look at the headlines.
6 wounded in Mata Kulia shooting. President questions delays in implementing death penalty. Fears of economic uncertainty. Big onion farmers in Dambulla suffer due to broken promises by the government.
Six persons were wounded in a shooting which occurred this afternoon in Mattakulia have been admitted to the National Hospital in Colombo.
Bodies of 2 men who had been hacked to death in the Teppanama area along the Goraka-Ala Road in Kuruvita were discovered last night. Our correspondent reports that the men had been murdered at about 10 o'clock last night. The deceased have been identified as 35-year-old Sanath Kumara from Kirivaldeniya and 34-year-old MP Suranga from Mandadeniya. Preliminary investigations have revealed that the 2 men who work as miners had been involved in an argument with another group last evening. Another man was stabbed to death in the Spring Hill Estate area in Peradeniya last evening. The victim has been identified as 27-year-old Danushka Madhushan from Dangolla, Kandy. The suspects in the murder have been identified as 2 25-year-old cousins of the victim and are both residents of the same area. Meanwhile, 9 firearms including a mini Uzi typically used by VIP security personnel were recovered during a raid carried out on a house in the Dinagoda area in Beruwala by the Kalutara Division Law Enforcement Unit. A suspect connected to the incident was apprehended in Latpadura Baduraliya along with a haul of game meat and live ammunition. The Matugama Magistrates Court issued detention orders for the suspect to be questioned until the 14th of this month. Meanwhile, police who accosted a man behaving suspiciously in the Dampe area in Meegoda found a rudimentary shotgun and 4 12-bore type rounds of ammunition on his person. The suspect is 19 years old. Following questioning, another 37-year-old suspect was taken into custody in the Varagala area in Padukka. A search of the suspect's house had returned a revolver, 56 rounds of ammunition for T-56 assault rifles and 9 rounds of ammunition for the revolver.
In more local news, the President convened a special discussion on drug trafficking and the prevention of crime.
නීති විරෝධී මන්ත්‍රාලය මත්කුඩු ඒවා සම්බන්ධයෙන් වැරදිකරුවන් විදියට මරණීය දණ්ඩනය.
I took the decision that death penalty needs to be implemented on a few drug traffickers who have been sentenced. Accordingly, I summoned the relevant records. The problem is that there is no one to impose the death sentence on. That means there are no records. A separate investigations need to be conducted into that. Give me the records of the ones who have been sentenced to death and still carry on with their drug businesses. Those are the ones who are most suited for the death penalty. All the drug traffickers who have been sentenced to death have appealed their cases before me. I hope to establish a special committee to look into this matter.
සියලුම දෙනා මගේ නඩුව ඇපීල් කළා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා වෙනම පරීක්ෂණ කමිටුවක් පත් කරන්න.
The President had summoned the Secretary of Defence, the Attorney General, the Inspector General of Police and the Commissioner General of Excise for this discussion.
Report on Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement was handed over to the President at the Presidential Secretariat today. President's Media Division said that the report was handed over to the Head of State by Committee Chairperson Professor W.D. Lakshman and the committee members. Meanwhile, what is the current status of the government expenditure and government affairs? Secretary to the Prime Minister S. Amarasekara made these remarks.
According to the stay order given by the appeal court, Honorable Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers can't perform. Cabinet of Ministers and the Prime Minister is there, but they can't discharge their duties. Accordingly, we presume that the personal staff also can't perform. So the normal functions of the ministries, departments and the Prime Minister office will perform as usual. When there is no minister, normally all those functions will automatically goes to the President. So now these days we consider President as our minister. So whenever it is required, we consult the President. So from next January there is no budget, but when there is no budget, the President can approve a vote on account. But the problem is when there is a vote on account, the difficulty is that you cannot accommodate new projects.
Big onion manufacturers and farmers of the Matale district staged a protest at the centre of the Dambulla town today.
The demonstration was staged demanding the government to keep their promise of providing cash relief to big onion manufacturers. As part of a seed development project which commenced during the previous season, the government had pledged to reimburse big onion manufacturers 4,500 rupees, exactly half the cost of what is incurred to manufacture a kilogram of big onion. While manufacturers say that a decision during a district development meeting had already been taken to ensure the farmers will receive these funds, farmers say that the government refrains from providing such funds by presenting various excuses. More than 1,700 farmers in several areas, including the Matale and Anuradhapura districts, are currently facing this issue. The farmers who participated in the protest today handed over the letter to the Provincial Agriculture Department.
A farmer is a very sensitive person, unlike the buffaloes in parliament who throw chili powder, books and chairs at others. We are suffering the consequences of the steps taken by the previous government headed by Ranil Wickremesinghe. If these funds were deposited in banks, at least the farmers could have benefited from the interest income. Therefore, the government must pay these funds with interest.
Protesters dispersed after a promise was made to provide a solution by the 15th of this month.
Representatives of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna called on President Maithripala Sirisena this afternoon for a meeting.
This meeting was held this afternoon at the Presidential Secretariat. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended the meeting.
The discussions that were stopped during the past few days has been decided to start from today. So we decided to bring out a process with a common symbol and a common name, and this was to prepare for the forthcoming elections. Therefore, we have decided to meet immediately to discuss about it. I think it is an important message.
The
United National Party, including the opposition, said they brought hundreds of thousands of people to Colombo. We told the president that we also brought many. If they are bringing in 100,000, we will bring in 200,000. If they bring 200,000, we can bring 400,000 to Colombo. We are all set for it. The final review of the Sri Lanka-Singapore FTA has been handed over to the president. So we mainly wanted to inform about it. So we primarily discussed on how we could express those views before the country.
Representatives of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna met the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the official residence in Vijayarama before meeting the president.
The credit for developing the alliance should go to Mahinda Rajapaksa. Also, we consider President Maithripala Sirisena as a part of our alliance. They will decide on that as they are the main leaders of it. We can't make any statement about it. We did not discuss such a thing. We are preparing a suitable environment for an election. We are preparing and discussing the manifesto. We are also discussing about a program that will reach the people.
People hope
that the Supreme Court will give the order, especially about the decision that was made by the President to dissolve the Parliament. Also, the President informed us that he will be making a request to the Chief Justice in the morning, along with the Attorney General, through the Supreme Court to give the order without any delay. Therefore, we believe that the Supreme Court will give a reasonable judgment before the 14th.
You're watching Primetime News on News First, keeping you updated about the local stories. Leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, made a statement to the media today.
අයි බලාපොරොත්තු වුණා ඡන්ද පිළිබඳ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ තීන්දුව.
We were expecting to receive the Supreme Court decision by today or tomorrow, but our attorney said that we will receive the decision by Wednesday, Thursday or Friday. So we spoke to other civil organizations and made a request. We said that we will carry out the operation to show the power of the people after we receive the final verdict of the court. They say that we will do it after the verdict is given. It is pointless for us to have one now and another one after the verdict. Now we have decided to do this next week after the court verdict.
ඒගොල්ලෝ නඩු තීන්දුවෙන් පස්සේ තව එකක් කළා වැඩක් නැහැ. අපිත් තීරණය කරා මේක නඩු තීන්දුවෙන් පස්සේ කරන්න කියලා ඊළඟ සතියේ.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
J.R. Jayawardena is the uncle and Ranil Wickremesinghe is the nephew. Back in the day, J.R. Jayawardena contested elections in a manner similar to thread puppetry performed in Ambalangoda. However, our former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe uses a completely different approach. He is afraid of elections. Ranil Wickremesinghe was never a leader who achieved success directly. On the other hand, there is Sajith Premadasa who says that he did not reject the position of Prime Minister. I will protect my father's legacy. He likes to be the Prime Minister but is afraid to take up such a position. Two United National Party parliamentarians addressed a meeting in Anuradhapura yesterday. We spoke to the UNP and said we will not have a common candidate. We suffered enough on both occasions and we will not put up with it anymore. So we took a decision and we will only field a candidate from the UNP. We promise to bring a candidate that you all want and we promise to put our lives on the line for him. I can't say their names because I will be battered. You all know what I'm talking about. Neither Ranil Wickremesinghe, Kharu Jayasuriya nor Sajith Premadasa will work to split the UNP, my friends. We will all work together. In the not too distant future, Sajith Premadasa will come forth and say that he will accept the responsibility for the party and guide us towards victory. At the next election, we will field the UNP candidate. He is our common candidate and the man behind whom we all can come together. We are not ready to hire candidates from other parties or other groups.
The Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
This book was written by Manohara De Silva, the same lawyer who is arguing before the Supreme Court for Maithripala Sirisena and Mahinda Rajapaksa, claiming that the President has the power to dissolve Parliament at any time. Wrote a book in December 2016 in which he says the President does not have the power to dissolve Parliament until 4.5 years into its term. Multiple choice question number 22 in the civic education exam shows the manner in which the President can dissolve Parliament under the 19th Amendment. We will have to give this O-level examination paper to the President. There are 4 answers here. At least 1 year into Parliament's term. 2. When the Prime Minister seeks the dissolution of Parliament. 3. At the President's whim. And 4. 4.5 years into Parliament's term. According to the marking scheme, the correct answer for question 22 is number 4. That Parliament cannot be dissolved until 4.5 years have lapsed. Our President is saying that number 3 is the correct answer. The JP will not use its vote in Parliament for any motion pledging support to Ranil Wickremesinghe or seeking to appoint him as Prime Minister. We are only intervening here to defeat this coup. There are a total of 225 MPs in Parliament. If all 225 are saying give it to this one person, who else can you give it to? It must be done. We have not said so anywhere. The JP has not said anywhere that Ranil Wickremesinghe is the Prime Minister of this country. Welcome back to the news. As we said at the outset of the bulletin, you are joining us from Echelon Square in Colombo, where we have put together the Christmas experience for you. A reminder, Dasani, that our viewers can be a part of this experience with us here at Echelon Square. You can come down to Echelon Square during all our primetime news bulletins, be it Sinhala, Tamil or in English. We are ready to bring you that live experiences live from Echelon Square here in Colombo.
Absolutely, Chaturanga. Also in our local news, a fundamental rights petition challenging Speaker Kharu Jayasuriya was filed at the Supreme Court today by attorney at law Aruna Laksari.
The petition states the Speaker committed to contempt of court by convening Parliament despite an interim injunction issued against the dissolution of Parliament. Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, the Attorney General and the Chairman and members of the Elections Commission have been named as respondents. The petition seeks the Supreme Court to rule that appointing Mahinda Rajapaksa as Prime Minister, removing Ranil Wickremesinghe from the post of Prime Minister and the removal of the Cabinet of Ministers as illegal. The petition was taken up before Justices Cicere Diabru, Buen Kaluvihare and Murdo Fernando.
Today marks the International Human Rights Day, which celebrates the 70th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Human Rights.
International Human Rights Day, celebrated on the 10th of December every year, commemorates the universal declaration that regardless of race, color, religion, sex, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth or other status, everyone is inherently entitled to inalienable rights stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Signed in 1948 and translated into more than 500 languages, the document enshrines 30 rights that are inherently important. An event was held today, organized by the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka under the theme, quote, "The World Made Anew, the UDHR in Our Lives, Child and Youth Reflections," unquote. Dr. Deepika Udagama, chairperson of the Human Rights Commission Sri Lanka, and the commander of the Sri Lanka Army were present at the event.
Over the 7 decades since its adoption, the Universal Declaration has underpinned countless beneficial changes in the lives of millions of people across the world. In 1948, when the Universal Declaration was signed, the life expectancy in Sri Lanka was 53 years. Sri Lankan life expectancy is now 77 years. Today, you are all aware, we are all aware, watching just the news, how the progress is under threat. I witnessed and heard firsthand the terrifying consequences of the war and its impact on the protection of rights. We owe it to our younger generation to create an environment in which rights are respected and protected.
Attending an event held in Mannar today, General Secretary of the Tamil National People's Front, Selvarasa Gajendran, expressed the following views.
During the cabinet meeting, Ranil Wickremesinghe requested that the eastern container terminal of the Colombo port should be given to India. This angered President Maithripala Sirisena, and he stated that he will never permit anyone to sell valuable assets of our country. After Ranil Wickremesinghe returned from his trip to India, his position as Prime Minister was replaced with Mahinda Rajapaksa. There is a background story to all of this. India tried to obtain control of the Palali and Mattala airports, the eastern container terminal of the Colombo port, and 70 oil tanks in Trincomalee through an agreement. Mahinda Rajapaksa was appointed as the Prime Minister to put an end to all of this. 2 agreements over the Colombo port have been established with India even after these events. If we assume that this crisis is a strain between Ranil and Maitri, we will all lose.
Still in your local news, former Chancellor of the Eastern University, Professor P. Mukaya, expressed the following views.
Our politicians lack talent, and that is why our country is facing such a crisis. If there were leaders who could utilize and manage our country's resources, we would not face such a crisis. We all know the former Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. Back then he said that he wants to make Singapore another Sri Lanka in 25 years. Now our shameless leaders are begging from them. Our leaders shout out loud that Sri Lanka's literary rates are 90%. They are liars and thieves. If one could write their name and address, they try to earn money from them.
Former Central Province Minister Thilina Bandara Tennakon obtained membership from the United National Party today.
Thilina Bandara Tennakon met with the leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, at Temple Trees this morning. As a member of the Working Committee and Executive Committee, we were not informed of any decisions that were taken by the party. As we are answerable to the public, we faced a very difficult situation.
Testifying at today's Presidential Commission of Inquiry on irregularities at Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lankan Catering and Mihin Lanka was the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy.
Testifying at the Commission today, Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy elaborated on past and present practices that have been adapted by the central bank during the issuance of various debt instruments. Deputy Solicitor General Neil Unambuva raised concerns over the validity and approval of the central bank's debt department operation manuals, which were issued in 2005 and 2007. The governor confirmed that at present such manuals are prepared by the Public Debt Department of the Central Bank and thereafter presented to the Monetary Board for approval. The governor added that the operational manuals of the PDD will be reviewed and updated on a yearly basis. The governor elaborated over the process of issuing treasury bonds through direct placements, revealed that since 2006, the Sri Lankan government had raised more than 90% of treasury bonds through direct placements. However, this was drastically reduced in 2015, with the direct placements only accounting for less than 20%.
Sri Lanka's #1 hit music station Yes FM celebrated its 25th anniversary today.
Yes FM began its venture into Sri Lanka's radio sphere at 6 a.m. on the 10th of December 1993, playing a mix of contemporary music that targets young music fans. Over the years, Yes FM has gone above and beyond the average radio station, delivering premium entertainment both on air and in live action, bringing down the likes of MLTR, Michael Bolton and the Venga Boys, among other major artists. Starting at the pinnacle of Sri Lanka's radio sphere, the channel has gone from strength to strength and continues to remain #1, moving from hit music station to a hub for both entertainment and information. Yes FM celebrated reaching its unique milestone earlier today at the Echelon Barracks in front of the Dutch Hospital shopping precinct.
Dasumi Atauda, who is seated with me here in the studio, has stepped out for a bit and is currently standing by with Shehara Lienage. You know her as Shay on Yes FM, to tell us more about the celebratory day of Yes FM. Dasumi, over to you.
Yes, Chaturanga, Yes 101, Sri Lanka's #1 hit music station, celebrated their 25th anniversary today. 25 years of bringing you the best and greatest hit music. I have with me Senior Executive of Yes FM, Shehara Lienage. Hi, Shay. So tell me, how have the past 25 years been?
Dasuni, it's been unbelievably amazing and truly rewarding for each and every one of us. Just take today, for example, we've had so many listeners dropping by just to say a happy birthday, thank you for being with them for the last 25 years. And as Yes 101 and 100.8, we've really redefined radio for so many years. We've come up with different concepts, so many things, and really been the trendsetters for a lot of things. So I'm really thankful for that, and for the entire team, our channel head Ramzi Kasim. We're thankful for the management and their belief in us. And everyone else who put this together. Look at how beautiful this place looks today. All our sister stations, including Newsfirst, we're here today as a team, and it just shows that we grow from strength to strength. And more importantly, we just want to take this opportunity to thank our listeners. We would be nothing without you, and thank you for your belief and support in us, and we will continue to do our best and be the best that we can. Generation Yes all the way.
Thank you, Shay. 25 years down, many more years to go. Back to you, Chathul.
Thank you very much, Dasuni and Shay. We will continue with our local news. Newly appointed US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Liana B. Teplitz, visited Kandy today.
The ambassador paid homage to the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. She was received by Diyavadana Nilame Pradeep Nilanga Dela. The ambassador then had an audience with the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, the Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero. She then called on the chief prelate of the Asgiri chapter of the Siam sect, the Most Venerable Varkagoda Sri Jnanaratna Thero. The ambassador spoke to the media following her meeting.
The US government Sri Lanka to grant $500 million to stop this grant?
As a result of the political crisis, we have paused work towards our Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact, which is almost $500 million, designed to invest through grant monies, no payback required, no interest, through grant monies in the infrastructure of Sri Lanka. So I hope that the political crisis can be resolved promptly, transparently, constitutionally, and democratically, so that we can begin work again on this very important agreement.
Sports First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
I lost both my hands in 2015, but I did not let that affect me. I was determined to be victorious in life, and I have achieved that. My only hope is to achieve the Platinum Awards. I'm Kumudu Priyanka.
Sports First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
In sports news, its International Cricket Council today announced that an independent assessment has found the bowling action of Sri Lanka's off-spinner Akila Dhananjaya to be illegal, and as such he has been suspended from bowling in international cricket with immediate effect.
The assessment revealed that his deliveries exceeded the 15 degrees level of tolerance permitted under the regulations. In accordance with Article 11.1 of the ICC regulations for the review of bowlers reported with suspect illegal bowling actions, Dhananjaya's international suspension will also be recognized and enforced by all national cricket federations for domestic cricket events played in their own jurisdiction. However, according to Article 11.5 of the regulations, and with the consent of the Sri Lanka cricket, Dhananjaya may be able to bowl in domestic cricket events played under the auspices of the SLC. Dhananjaya was reported with a suspicious bowling action during the first test against England, which the visitors won by 211 runs in Galle, and had undergone an independent assessment of his bowling action on the 23rd of November 2018 at the National Cricket Centre, Brisbane. Dhananjaya can apply for a reassessment after modifying his bowling action in accordance with Clause 4.5 of the regulations.
Okay. And that's a wrap of Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Echelon Squares. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dasnia Thapa.
I'm Chaturang Hapwarache. It will be great to have you too here, watching us live here at Echelon Square. Good night.